I'm Lloyd Bonson and welcome to Rockingham for the latest round of the Competition Car Insurance Ford Fiesta Championship. Qualifying for Class C was running mixed conditions, and I'll hand you over to Richard to go through the latest championship positions and the grid for race 1.
Thanks very much, Lloyd. Coming away from Brands Hatch, it's David Grady leading the championship from Ed Cockhill, then Matt Parr in third, Harry Cockhill fourth from Matt Foley and Mike Bushell. Seventh position is Ashley Sutton from Lee Napolitano, then Andrew Wilmot and Jason Cooper, Nick Bowers and Ian Wilson. As Lloyd said, difficult conditions here at the Rock today. Very wet in qualifying on Saturday. Those conditions carried through to today's race. And it's David Grady on pole position with Matt Parr alongside. Then it's Jason Cooper and Ashley Sutton on row 2. Row 3, Nick Bowers and Harry Cockhill. Ed Cockhill lines up on the inside of row 4. Lee Napolitano next to him from David Abbott. Then it's Mike Bushell, Rex Nye and Nick Pope. The 7th row of the grid, Ian Wilson with Graham Field in position 14. Then Matt Foley and Andrew Wilmot in 16th. "20 minutes of racing action from the Class C ST Fiestas. And the man with the work to do, David Grady, on the front row of the grid. Conditions a little bit drier than we had for the A and B race earlier on in the meeting. And is that going to play to David Grady, who gets away well? Not a great start from Matt Parr, but he slots into second place. Look at Nick Bowers coming up the inside into third place on the inside of Jason Cooper. And it's Ed Cockhill on the inside line. His brother Harry a couple of cars down behind him. Ash Sutton's got away well in the red car. Jason Cooper wide to the outside line. But look at Ed Cockhill up the inside, challenging for fourth position. I think he's got through. Jason Cooper is in third place as they come out of the Dean hairpin. That's normally where there are tears here at Rockingham on lap 1, but no problems for David Grady. But 4 wide as they come into Yentwood. Matt Parr goes wide. Napolitano's through on the inside. The two gone. Jason Cooper gets turned around. Cooper, who had a miserable start to the season, a miserable meeting at Brands Hatch as well. Problems with his ECU there, being excluded from one of the races, and now finds himself nosing into the barrier. He is going to be, when is his luck going to change? Well, out front it's David Grady. There goes Grady. It's Ash Sutton. Great from fourth position on the grid into second place in the race. There's Mike Bushell just going out of shot. Back in shot he comes with Matt Parr down behind him. Then Nick Bowers in the green 55 car, followed by Harry Cockhill in the blue 28 machine, who looks around the outside line here. Down behind him is Matt Foley, who qualified down in 15th. Incredible first few corners from Matt Foley. Really good to see him making that progress. The man from Merthyr Tydfil, former stock hatch driver, who I think may well have pedalled around here before, but we'll need to check that out. This is the view from Matt Parr into the Brook S's at the moment. Parr second, third, fourth, fifth place at the moment. And down behind, Lee Napolitano. Lee, the 19-year-old from Lingfield in Surrey, ex-Carter. And we'll see what Matt Parr can do. So Matt Parr, wish him a very happy birthday today as he turns 25 years of age. Club Formula Ford driver, another ex-Carter as well. Looks up the inside of Mike Bushell. Napolitano from Cockhill, then it's Bowers, followed by Matt Foley. A lot of work to do for Andrew Wilmot in this race. Was technical infringement in qualifying, and that stuck him down at the back of the grid, so we can expect to maybe see him cut his way through the field. Meanwhile, David Grady, he's absolutely loving this because he's got clear track ahead of him, clear track behind him, no pressure at all from Ashley Sutton in second position, and this is exactly what he wants to do. Get his head down, pull away, not have to worry about being defensive. Mike Bushell running well though, in third place at the moment. Let's see whether Bushell can maybe grab a podium here. Ashley Sutton in second position, then it's Matt Parr back in fourth place, and Matt, one of the drivers who is emerging as down the inside goes Mike Bushell into second place, and look at that, coming up as well is Harry Cockle. So Harry Cockle up into fourth place. Harry Cockle fourth in the championship. It's his brother who is second in the standings as we come into this Rockingham round, and Harry Cockle will be very pleased with that manoeuvre. You can see this part of the circuit is very tricky. The other part's looking largely much drier, but when they get past the Brook S's, things seem not to be as good. We've got the second place car. Mike Bushell's got his windscreen wipers on. Cockle from Parr in that position. Now Matt Parr is going to have a go here. Looks down the inside line of Harry Cockle. Side by side they go into the Dean hairpin. Ash Sutton still there in third position. Cockle trying to remain on the outside line. He knows that converts to the inside at the next corner, and some good defending there from Cockle. He's got the line, comes out wide. This is the view from Matt Parr. The Uckfield Motor Services livery, not what Matt Parr wants to see in front of him. We want to put that very fairly and squarely behind him at some point during the race. We'll see how it all pans out for Harry Cockle. But David Grady still at the front of the bunch. Cockle's going for third place down the inside of Ashley Sutton, who drifts wide, but Sutton gets a little bit more speed, I think, as a result of that. Heading down towards Steel Straight. Cockle with a bit of a wobble on there. Parr a little bit also, but less so perhaps than the man in front of him. So heading back towards the main Rockingham building and down towards the Tars and hairpin. Let's see whether Cockle's going to have a jump down the inside here. The quicker line tends to be on the outside on this corner. Brake lights on from Sutton. Call me a liar, Cockle doesn't. He goes through on the inside line and gains more momentum. So Ashley Sutton now down to fourth position. Harry Cockle up into third, and a potential podium for the man in fourth position in the championship. Mike Bushell is ahead of him, and Matt Parr absolutely nothing to do at the moment about Ashley Sutton, who gets it all crossed up coming out of the S's onto the main straightaway and down the inside, and up into fourth position goes Matt Parr. So Matt Parr, who qualified in second position, is gradually climbing back up the order. Ashley Sutton qualified fourth and finds himself back in fifth position at the moment. It could still go any which way at all, but it's David Grady still out front. But we've got a scrap on for second position now, as Harry Cockle starts to put the pressure on Mike Bushell for second position. Wide line here as they go down into Yentwood, and Harry Cockle through into second position. Bushell gets forced wide. He's going to try and fight back from that, but coming up as well now is Matt Parr. Let's see whether Matt could get through as well. Ash Sutton still down behind them, but Harry Cockle up into second position. Good opening few laps from him in this 20-minute race, but David Grady is away and down the road. Fastest lap on lap 2 so far for David Grady. A 1 minute 48.046. Got a retiree in the race as well. I'm not quite sure who that is, but now the battle on for third position. So Mike Bushell, the man from Tunbridge Wells, in the WDE Motorsport prepared car, ahead of Matt Parr, who'll be hoping to get back on terms. Double winner at Brands Hatch, of course, Matt Parr, with Jason Cooper second in race 1, David Grady second in race 2 at our fourth event of the year. This one taking us into the second half of the Competition Car Insurance Ford Fiesta Championship. Harry Cockle making good progress here in second position, getting away from Mike Bushell, and you just get the feeling that Bushell, who qualified down in 10th position, great opening lap for him, real good opportune driving that you can do here at Rockingham, but at the moment I think really very much on the defence, and Cockle getting away. Matt Parr trying to think about what he can do. Matt Parr takes a sweep on the inside line as they come up into Dean. Now can he squeeze that car through and grab the line down into Yentwood? Yes, he can. That was a very well thought out and executed manoeuvre by Matt Parr, but Mike Bushell's not finished. Tries to look up the inside, doesn't have enough momentum, and loses that potential podium position. Evidence of a bit of bodywork damage on Matt Parr's machine, the 33 car. So, well, that's exactly what aspirant touring car drivers will expect. So it's David Grady leading from Harry Cockle, Matt Parr in third position, then Mike Bushell in fourth, Ashley Sutton running in fifth place at the moment, the red machine we just saw at the back of the shot. Here's Mike Bushell going to have a look down the inside. We saw Harry Cockle pull off this manoeuvre earlier on in the race. Down behind Ashley Sutton, it's Matthew Foley who's coming into the mix as well. Now Bushell should have the line here. Bit of contact traded there with Matt Parr. So this really is touring car racing going on. They're trading a little bit of paint, and Mike Bushell, great manoeuvre, back up into third position for Bushell. Down to fourth goes Parr. Oh, and Ashley Sutton being tagged there by Matt Foley. Then it's Nick Bowers going through. Following Nick Bowers, we've got David Abbott in the silver number 3 car. David Abbott, of course, running in the Veterans Cup, drivers aged 42 or over at the start of the year. Ian Wilson leads that particular point score from Abbott, with Al Daly in third place.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keane, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
We go back to this great scrap for third position with Matt Parr. Doesn't seem to get enough momentum or speed out of the corner to be able to do that. Up into Chapman now, has a quick look, brakes on in front for Mike Bushell, who's defending well, and this is good news for Harry Cockle, who starts to pull away. Now into the left-hander at Piff Paff, long sweeping left-hand corner. Eventually straightens out onto Steel Straight, and they continue going round left into Tarzan corner, and Parr looking up the inside, brake lights on there from Bushell, still on this big sweep. Now you can see the straight run down towards Tarzan. Bushell grabbing the inside line as they come down towards Tarzan, goes back to the centre of the circuit, not really giving Parr particularly any option to go inside or outside, and Matt Parr contents himself at the moment with fourth position, and Mike Bushell stays potentially on a podium in third, while David Grady continues his getaway at the front of the field. The gap now 4 or 5 seconds clear of Harry Cockle in second position. Harry, who grabbed a brace of podia at the first race of the year at Silverstone, pretty much in the same position, busy chasing Harry Cockle. So Ashley Sutton, it is back in fifth place. You can see the battle for fourth ahead of them. Matthew Foley is down behind them, then Nick Bowers, then a gap back to the silver and blue car of David Abbott, the number 3 machine. Nick Bowers looking good, putting in some impressive lap times is Nick Bowers, lapping in the 1:49s. All of the top drivers in the race under 1 minute 50 around here, an average speed of getting on towards 70 miles an hour, which in these conditions is pretty good going. But we've got a challenge on for third place. So third position once again is Matt Parr, and down into fourth position Mike Bushell, and then down behind him Matthew Foley. So Matt Parr has got all the work to do once again. Matt Parr, let's see what he can do about Mike Bushell in front of him. These two having a real game of cat and mouse in this race, and just over half distance. Here he comes, look at the outside line here, maybe he'll sweep back. No, he's not, he's going to go the whole way, right the way around the outside line. That's something he can do in karting. Bushell giving him a little bit of room, but body contact between the two again. These two really at it, hammer and tongs. I tell you what, the body parts are going to be, the spares truck's going to be busy at the end of this one, but it's Parr back in front once again. I think conditions getting slightly trickier here in this one now, and I don't think we're going to see improvement in lap times. So Matt Parr back into third position. Bushell in third position. And Parr down the inside retakes third position. So Matt Parr back into third place. These two, look at the understeer there from Matthew Parr in third position, now starting to get away from the fourth place car, appropriately car number 4, Mike Bushell, and away in front of them is Harry Cockle, who's got well clear of this battle. Into turn 1 they go. So David Grady still comfortable out front. Then it's Harry Cockle second. Matthew Parr clear now in third position as they exit turn 1. Go down towards the hairpin once again. Mike Bushell in fourth place. Then it's Ashley Sutton, Nick Bowers and Matthew Foley having a good scrap. And Foley now starting to reel in Ash Sutton, trying to get up into fifth place. But can't do anything about that as they head down into Yentwood. And we momentarily go back to the 33 cars. You can see missing the wing mirror on the inside and a fair old chunk of bodywork dented on the front of the car, the other side. So Matt Parr knows that he's been in a scrape, and I wonder if any touring car bosses are watching and saying, hey, this guy could be pretty good. So many drivers in this championship that I would love to see move up the ladder into British touring cars at some point. So it's Grady from Cockhill, Matt Parr in third place, Nick Bowers still trying to hunt down the cars in front of him, Ashley Sutton and company. There is Mike Bushell still in fourth position. Brief look at the second position man going through, Harry Cockhill, 28 car, the man from Heathfield, 21 years of age, the 2010 Class B champion with 11 wins. His brother winning Class A with 6 wins and 5 poles last year. And Ed Cockhill not having a great race. He's lost Ian Wilson out of this race, incidentally, the man who leads the Veterans Cup. Back down the order to Nick Pope, who is leading Andrew Wilmot. Wilmot, of course, started at the back of the field after technical infringement in qualifying. Not having much better luck in this race at the moment. The pair of those just outside the top 10 of the race at the moment. And we'll see Jason Cooper is ahead of them, having recovered from his visit off the circuit on lap 1, but Wilmot still trying to put this move on Nick Pope. Let's see whether man from Dartford can execute the manoeuvre over Nick Pope. Pope comes from Bridgewater, 28 years of age now, and a mechanic by trade, enjoying his racing. And Wilmot, of course, who we saw do so well in Class A last season, moving up. And this is a fiercely competitive field here we've got in the Ford Fiesta STs. So Pope looking pretty good for position at the moment. That's the battle currently for 11th place on the field. We've had said Ed Cockhill out of the race and Ian Wilson out of the race too. So those cars come back towards us again. We'll see down behind them was Rex Nye, the red and black car. Rex down in 14th position at the present time, but through the Brook S's they go, and Nick Pope not making any mistakes thus far. Back onto the main straight they go, and under the starting gantry here, out to the wall. Nick Pope still hanging on to position. Pope's best lap, 1:52, so a few seconds away from the likes of race leader David Grady as he sweeps down into turn 1. He's really got the better here of Andrew Wilmot for the moment. This is really good stuff from Nick Pope, and Wilmot having a lot of trouble carving his way through the field. When he looked at the grid and saw Matt Foley started immediately in front of Andrew Wilmot, and Foley got up to the front runners very, very quickly indeed. So clearly Wilmot not happy with the way things are going in this race, and Rex Nye starting to close down on him to challenge for that 13th position. Harry Cocker, we just saw completely the other end of the circuit, still running in second place. But this circuit that twists and turns around nearly 2 miles, the Rockingham International Sports Car circuit, and this is probably the closest dice that we've got on circuit. The track does allow overtaking, does allow cars to find their own battles and space out, and space is exactly what David Grady found. 8 seconds clear now of Harry Cockle in second position, and the Unitech car looks like he's going to pick up another race win here at Rockingham. So Grady, the man from Leicester, took 5 wins last year. I don't think there's too much debate that he was probably the quickest driver out on track last year. Jeremy Gumbly ultimately getting the championship with a craftsman-like season and some great racing. And Grady perhaps heading into the second half of this year's championship very much with half the engraving on the trophy maybe already done. You can see the rain on the camera lens. That's not going to be helping the drivers too much, but Grady is used to this. Into the left-hander at Piff Paff we go. Grady still clear, fastest lap of the race. It was pole position at the start of the event as well. Down still straight. Turns in, heads down towards Tarzan for the last time. Still Harry Cockle in second position. Matt Parr in third place. We've lost Mike Bushell, which is a great shame for the man who put up a great fight. There is Bushell in the gravel on the exit of Tarzan. That corner, along with Dean, is the one that really catches people out. At the Dean hairpin, you've at least got the runoff onto the oval, but if you get it wrong at Tarzan, you get beached, and that's exactly what's happened to Mike Bushell, who was no doubt challenging for third place when it happened. But out front, David Grady gets back onto the top step of the podium. That's exactly where we've got used to seeing him thus far this year. Out of turn 4, over the grid and across the stripe here at Rockingham to salute his pit lane, pit crew, and take the win. David Grady wins it. Harry Cockle, as I said, 8 seconds behind, is going to take second position. That's good points for Harry Cockle, 4th in the championship coming into this round. David Grady takes the win from Harry Cockle. Matt Parr in third place with Nick Bowers 4th ahead of Ashley Sutton and Matthew Foley. Then it was David Abbott in 7th from Lee Napolitano. Jason Cooper 9th from Graham Field. Andrew Wilmot in 11th. Then Nick Pope and Rex Nye completing the runners in 13th place.
David Grady, another victory in Class C in the Ford Fiesta Championship, but certainly an interesting race out there today at Rockingham.
Yeah, it was. It's good to get my sixth win of the season. So my target at the start of the year was 8, so I'm only 2 shy of that now. As for the race, I made a reasonably good getaway, managed to avoid most of the wheel spin, which was important because it meant that I could stay clearly ahead going into the hairpin after a long drag on the straight, which was important, I think. And soon after that, there was a bit of a melee between the drivers immediately behind, which made my escape quite easy.
Matt, there was certainly lots of action out there in the first race at Rockingham. Talk us through it from your point of view.
Well, the start was obviously quite crucial. I managed to get a reasonable start, started behind David. Then on the exit of turn 2, I got quite a lot of wheel spin, and got a few cars got past me, and then in the run from turn 3 to 4, I think Jason Cooper came across and sort of tagged me, and then basically I sort of fell back to I think it was 7th position, and managed to fight my way back to 3rd. So it was a very exciting race.
The club, an amateur racer. Here at Go Racing TV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
David Grady on pole position with Harry Cockle alongside. Then it's Matt Parr and Nick Bowers on row 2. Ashley Sutton and Matthew Foley on row 3. Fourth row, David Abbott and Lee Napolitano, then Jason Cooper and Graham Field, with Andrew Wilmot and Nick Pope on row 6. Seventh row, Rex Nye and Mike Bushell, with Ed Cockhill and Ian Wilson completing the 16-car grid. Conditions slightly drier here at Rockingham for our second race of the weekend, and lap times we reckon going to be in the order of about 10 seconds a lap quicker. Let's see how they get away. Cracking start from Harry Cockhill and David Grady. Matt Parr from third consolidates third. Nick Bowers on the outside. Then it's Matt Foley in the 82 car. Great start from Foley, very quick starter. But look at Mike Bushell round the outside, the man who finished up in the gravel at the Tarzan hairpin at the later stages of race 1. Thought he was going to make a big sweep in a lot of positions there as they go down into the Dean hairpin for the first time. David Abbott coming up on the inside of Ashley Sutton. Sutton, the red car, the silver car of David Abbott, is up into 5th position. Is he going to chop across in front of Nick Bowers? Bowers goes through on the inside up into 6th. But in 7th position, that's actually where he started. David Abbott, great spirited start from him. So everybody, I think, through safe and well, with Nick Pope bringing up the rear at the moment. But David Grady has got away once again in the 72 car. There he is in the white and blue car with the fluorescent mirrors, followed by Harry Cockhill in 2nd place. Matthew Parr in 3rd. Matt Foley in car number 82 finds himself behind David Abbott, which isn't where they finished in race 1. So Abbott, the veteran, absolute star of the championship. And here comes Jason Cooper up the inside of Foley. Well, he's looking up the inside. Down behind him, the 29 car of Ed Cockhill, non-finisher in the first race of the day, is making progress as well. So Ed with a fair bit of work to do from the last 3 positions on the grid, of course, being a non-finisher. Harry Cockhill coming under pressure from Matt Parr. So Matt Parr starting to try and put the pressure on and going for 2nd position in the 33 car. Harry Cockhill already losing a little bit of ground over David Grady. Remember, Harry Cockhill had some work to do in the early stages of race 1 to get up into 2nd place. Now he's there. He hasn't got any overtaking to do to get on the tail of Grady, but having said that, he has now got Matt Parr right with him in 3rd position. Ashley Sutton is back in 4th. Nick Bowers 5th position at the moment, and a cracking first lap from Jason Cooper, who really does, as I've said, deserve a little bit better rub of the green. The ex-Castle Combe Saloon Car champion. We just saw the blue and white car of Cooper go through in the pack with Ed Cockhill in the mix as well, trying to make up positions. But David Grady looks to me like he could be on for another double here. Harry Cockhill 2nd position. Already the guys on the lap times, we said that in race 1 they were doing 1:48s, and that was the faster guys on the circuit. Qualifying times around here yesterday were in the high 1:30s, and that's pretty much what they're doing now. So we're almost back to qualifying spec, and David Grady lapping 1:37. The top 2 drivers, Grady and Cockhill, both banging in 1 minute 37 laps. The rest of them, on the whole, will get down to under 1:40 as we look at David Abbott coming under pressure from Jason Cooper. Cooper looks to the outside line. There they are, top of shot, coming out of turn 4. Down behind them, Matthew Foley. Then it's Ed Cockhill still making up positions from the back of the field. This is going to be good damage limitation for Ed, who, remember, was 2nd in the championship coming into this round. Matt Parr in 3rd position, and certainly a great race result for Matt Parr in race 1. Won't have done him any harm as Jason Cooper goes through on the inside. So Cooper moves up a position. David Abbott just drops back, and we've got Ed Cockhill, who is going to be the next man looking for the scalp of David Abbott. Matthew Foley in the blue 82 car directly behind them. Then it's Lee Napolitano in 24. Great to see Lee back out after that rather nasty ending to proceedings at Brands Hatch for him. So some good mid-order battling here. They did tend to get a little bit spread out in the first race of the day. Very wet conditions, but things have dried up, and as we said, back to the race circuit, back to the kind of spec that we had in qualifying on the first day of, as is traditional, a 2-day race meeting. Matt Foley getting a little bit sideways there as we look at a scrap for second position, and Matt Parr takes second position from Harry Cockle. Matt Parr is through into second position, Harry Cockle down to third, Ashley Sutton behind them in fourth place, and Matt Parr, that is effectively the battle for second position, not only in the race but also in the championship standings too. Down into turn one they go. I'm wondering whether Harry Cockle's got any answer to Matt Parr in this one. Wait and see. David Grady away at the front. Cockle is gaining momentum here to have a go down the inside into Dean. Side by side they go again. They touch paint. Well, I tell you what, Matt Parr's car certainly has been in the wars this round. A little bit of a scrape as they went into the Dean hairpin, so he's lost second position. These two drivers very, very evenly matched. Parr continues on his way. Cockle second position, maybe another second for him. Certainly looking pretty good for a podium at the moment. Let's hope these two don't take each other out. Through Piff Paff, and of course all the time these two are scrapping, it's great news for Grady, because he's just going to be getting away. Cockle will go defensive when he needs to, but that's going to compromise his top speed, his optimum racing line, and it's going to allow Grady, all Grady's got to think about is the racing line. Although having said that, it's often tricky for the lead driver away on their own to maintain that concentration. That's what he's got to do. So everybody with their own job to do on circuit. And Cockle hangs on to second position. Ashley Sutton, is he getting closer in fourth place to these two? Probably need to get their heads down and work together to try and not let Grady get away. Grady it is that leads through another lap. Harry Cockle in second position. Matt Parr in third, briefly up into second place. Look at the big gap. How the teams get their pit signals read here is beyond me, but some of them still do persevere with putting the pit signals out, but it's a long, long way to look across for the drivers. Through turn one, topping out well over 100 mile an hour here at Rockingham, the newest race circuit in the UK. Been open a good few years now, and again a mixed reception really to this circuit from the drivers. Some guys absolutely love it to bits, and some less keen, saying it's very difficult to get a flow, but a circuit's a circuit. You've got to have flowing circuit, you've got to have some stop starts as well, and we've got a good mixture of tracks in the UK. This one, I believe, the only anti-clockwise track that the Competition Car Insurance Ford Fiesta Championship goes to, so it does give the drivers a little bit of a chance to unwind from all the clockwise racing that they've had over the months thus far. So this battle for second position still very much on between the guys who are third and second in the championship. Third place coming into this round, of course, Matt Parr. There is Ash Sutton. Nick Bowers back in fifth position at the moment. There is the green car of Nick Bowers. Then it's Jason Cooper. Let's have a look down behind them. It's Ed Cockle, followed by David Abbott, then Matthew Foley in 82, followed by Lee Napolitano in 10th position, car number 24. Then I think we've got Andrew Wilmot. I have to have a little look back. Wilmot we saw dicing with Nicholas Pope in race one, so let's just have a wee look back at David Abbott, car number 3, 59-year-old. He's an expert race car preparer, 5th in the championship last year, multi-race winner, ex-champion of course. And coming under pressure from Matthew Foley, who I think had a bit of body contact there but loses momentum. Lee Napolitano closing down on him now. Lee momentarily looks at the inside line, then goes back out to the racing line for Yentwood Corner. And I think he's got the legs on Foley here, but it's going to take him a little while maybe to get on terms with him. Through Chapman and Piff Paff they go, and those guys at the moment dicing for 9th position. Napolitano had, as I always say, a very good run of podium positions last year in classes A and B, 8 consecutive podia, so it was a logical move for him this year to come up from A and B into Class C. And again, the entry's sufficient in class to split Class C away from A and B. So Napolitano still giving chase to Matthew Foley, but David Grady away down the road, not as far as he was in race 1, only a second or so away from Harry Cockle at the moment. It was 8 seconds in race 1, and Cockle doing a very good job in second position once again. As we continue to focus on Lee Napolitano, trying to close in down that long home straight. You need to keep to the right hand side of that white line which marks the inner apron, and probably once under there is okay, but any more than that and the officials would be having words after the race, or there might be a drive through or time penalty applied to the final result of the race. But none of the guys seem to be using the inner apron at the moment. Andrew Wilmot there, the second blue car. Then we go back to Nick Pope, who is enjoying his race. That's Ian Wilson in car number 10. Wilson, who leads the Veterans Cup at the moment. Then it's Graham Field in the orange number 13 car, trying to close him down.
Hi there, I'm Tom Natcher, and this is Greg Kramer. We're called the old bastards of racing in many circles. You know, I guess we met back in the late 1980s.
Easy. It had to be at least that far back. Glory day of some racing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Trans Am was a part of the picture, and actually I learned to do pro announcing from this man around the Trans Am Championship. Oh, that is a long time ago.
A very long time ago, but I'll tell you what, you take a look at Trans Am racing in the early 90s in particular, the names that were running at that time. But the other side of the story was World Challenge was really starting to come alive at that point. And the names in that, there were sometimes you'd look at the two rosters and go, you know, I'm not sure which one is the most talent. Some amazing stuff from those decades past, and of course a lot of those drivers also doubling up, running amateur racing in the runoffs, and it was spectacular stuff.
Now Go Racing TV has got all of that action, Trans Am World Challenge, and even some runoff material, all coming up over the next season. That's going to be something to watch.
I know, to be able to relive those 2 decades of motorsports from the Sports Car Club of America's Pro Racing Department, Trans Am World Challenge, and then you include the National Amateur Championships, the runoff, the intense battles that unfolded there. It simply doesn't get any better than that, and it lives again right here on GoRacingTV.com.
Because I need to spend more time in front of my computer.
Nick Pope. I think Mike Bushell is the car ahead of him. Bushell, who non-finished the first race of the day, and Ian Wilson starting to try and close in on Nick Pope here. I wonder if he's going to be able to get through, whether Pope's going to hold him up. Similarly, is Graham Field going to get involved in the mix here as well? So Field closing in on Ian Wilson in the number 10 car. Nick Pope spent most of race 1 looking in his mirrors at Andrew Wilmot. Ultimately got passed by Wilmot in this race, looking in his mirrors again. But here's the challenge from Graham Field, who looks up the inside as they come into the first part of the S's. Left-hander followed immediately by right-hander, back into left-hander again as they rejoin the circuit, and it doesn't work. So Ian Wilson hangs on to position. Graham Field is still there. Nick Pope currently in 13th place. 14th is Ian Wilson, 15th position is Graham Field. So Field's going to have another go here. It looks down the inside of Ian Wilson, can't quite make it stick. Going to have another challenge here. So think about his line coming out of the hairpin, and at the moment he's going for Optimum Racing line. Down behind them, in fact, and not ahead of them, is Mike Bushell. So Bushell done these guys a disservice. So Mike Bushell with a bit of work to do. I wonder if perhaps he's had an off. There's Mike Bushel's car, just flashes through shot, chasing after this trio that are engaged in battle. I say engaged. Nick Pope's got a little bit of a lead at the moment. Graham Field still trying to deal with Ian Wilson. Looks down the inside line again, a little bit too far back, but notice of intent there for sure that he wants to get 14th position off of him. Graham Field, the man from Southall, estate agent by trade, but we won't hold that against him. Still trying to get in front of the number 10 car, Ian Wilson, another WDE prepared car, the man from Kings Hill. Still defending pretty well, and you've got to say, despite defending, not losing ground on Nick Pope. Mike Bushell is trying his hardest to try and join in with this battle through the S's. Out onto Main Straight again. Look at the gap ahead of Nick Pope. Ahead of Nick Pope is in fact Mike Bushell. So we're going back to the main pack. Ashley Sutton followed by Nick Bowers, then Jason Cooper, who's got on terms with them as well. So Jason Cooper having a good recovery from his first race problems. And now let's see what he can do about Nick Bowers. Harrying him, looking for the outside line. That's not going to work. Tucks back in to the racing line. And now he's going to have a look down the inside line as they come up towards Steel Straight. He's a little bit far back. Wider racing line here. May give him more momentum. And perhaps a move into the next corner, which is the Tarzan hairpin. So let's see if that works for him. Again, wide sweep here from Jason Cooper, who's using the racing lines really well. Nick Bowers is on the inside, Cooper on the outside line, carrying that extra speed. Sometimes the outside line can work. He'll cut back in on the inside line, but he's going to be on the outside for the run down into the S's. Now, if he's got a bit more speed, he might be able to get across in front. Can he do it? Or is Bowers going to hold on to position here? Bowers has got it. That's good stuff from Nick Bowers, 6th position. He hangs on to. Good scrap between these two. Intelligent driving from the pair of them. Good defensive stuff from Bowers. But again, you can see how you can make the Rockingham circuit work for you. If you take a wide line, you can really start to build up and have a good go. Ashley Sutton still ahead of this pair. Ed Cockhill down behind them in 7th position at the moment. And Grady still ahead of the stack in the 72 car. Is he going to be taking the silverware back to Leicester once again? Looks very much that. And there's a problem. Okay, so we've got a problem, and it's the third place man. It's Matt Parr that's got a problem. So Matt Parr looks like he's had an off somewhere on the circuit, and he's now a lap down. So Matt Parr has rejoined the circuit, and he's down in 15th position. Matthew Parr, speaking too soon about driving standards and retirements. Matt Parr is down, and so that means that Ash Sutton is up into 3rd place. Jason Cooper is now into 4th position, but onto the last lap it is David Grady heading for another perfect weekend, unless he makes a mistake in the closing stages. And as we've seen, it's not impossible for top line drivers to do that. Matt Parr, now was it an off, or of course was it some sort of mechanical problem that happened? Well, we'll have to wait and see in the post-race interviews. But there is the race leader, David Grady from Harry Cockhill. It could still go pear-shaped here on the inside of the oval. Let's see whether that is the case. But Grady has done all the hard work absolutely perfectly thus far this weekend. Into Chapman Curve for the last time. And he'll load up the G's and come around Piff Paff down towards Steel Straight once again. Uses a little bit of the curbs there on the exit down towards Tarzan for the last time. And I think Harry Cockhill's chase has been in vain, other than for the fact that he's going to pick up 2nd position points again. In fact, it's Harry Cockhill now, I can tell you, that's got the fastest lap of the race. 1:37.5 it was back on lap 4, and not David Grady who got the fastest lap, as I told you earlier on. So Harry Cockhill will be very pleased with fastest lap here. So it's not going to be the perfect day here for David Grady, but I'm sure he would rather take win than fastest lap, particularly when he's got a strong championship challenger behind him. Out of turn 4, he comes for the last time. Checkered flag beckons for David Grady, who extends his championship lead again. Is going to go down and buzz the pit wall as best he can to take the win. Harry Cockhill, fastest lap, 2nd place for him. 3rd place on the podium, Ashley Sutton, and Jason Cooper starts to turn his fortunes around with a great drive through the field in both races for 4th place. Nick Bowers is 5th. Ed Cockhill crosses the line in 6th place. Then it's Matthew Foley who got the better of David Abbott. There is David Abbott coming under pressure from Lee Napolitano, with Andrew Wilmot down behind him. Wilmot rounding off the top 10. Confirmation of the result. Grady winning from Harry Cockhill, got fastest lap. Then Ashley Sutton from Jason Cooper. Nick Bowers in 5th and Ed Cockhill in 6th place. 7th Matt Foley from David Abbott. Then Lee Napolitano and Andrew Wilmot. Mike Bushell in 11th place ahead of Nick Pope. Next up, Graham Field from Ian Wilson. Matthew Parr bringing the 33 car home in 15th place. So as we leave Rockingham Circuit, the championship table looks like this. David Grady leads the table from Ed Cockhill, with joint 3rd now, Matt Parr and Harry Cockhill. Matthew Foley in 5th position and Ashley Sutton on 83 points in 6th place. 7th position, Lee Napolitano from Mike Bushell. Then it's Andrew Wilmot and Jason Cooper. Nick Bowers 11th and David Abbott in 12th.
Harry, 2 races at Rockingham, 2 second places. Surely you've got to feel a little bit better about your season.
Yeah, 100% better now. After the crash at Donington, a crash at Brands Hatch, and then qualifying yesterday, we were on 7th and we were quite far off the pace. Went into the first race hoping for the best. Got into 2nd, finished 2nd, and then that one finished 2nd with a fastest lap as well.
So it's all looking good now as we go to Snetterton. Is having been there earlier on in the year, I'm guessing you're pretty happy with your car setup. What do you think you can do? Do you think a win's possible?
Win's possible at every race as long as you do things properly. But yeah, hopefully I can turn all these 2nd places, 3rd places into a win soon.
Is it a case of you guys having to do something properly, or is it a case of David Grady having to make a mistake? Because he's been pretty perfect so far this year.
David doesn't make a mistake in any race, but he is beatable now. Especially in that race, I was catching on him and then I'd make a mistake and drop off a bit. But we'll have to see what happens at Snetterton.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to seeing you there, and congratulations once again on your races here today.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Ash Sutton, a great 3rd place in the 2nd C race here at Rockingham. Talk us through it, because there was a lot going on out there.
Yeah, it was a busy race. The start of the race wasn't how I liked it. I dropped back to 7th, but I made my ground back up at the first corner by getting back to 4th. I just followed the leaders round. They pulled away a little bit. Towards the end of the race, I slowly pulled in Parr, and from what I've heard, he went into limp mode. So even if he didn't, I think I would have had the advantage because we were running a bit quicker than him towards the end. But it was just, overall, it was a good way to end the weekend. So
certainly it's been a mixed weekend with changeable weather this morning, dry this afternoon. How have you found it racing here at Rockingham?
It's my first time here, first time on Friday. I like the track a lot. The wet conditions, I can't really say much about it because our tyres were basically like slick, so we struggled a little bit. Had a good start then, but just come down to tyres. Dry, love the dry. Just all down to your confidence really. It's all a bit of a ballsy track, if you know what I mean.
We go to Snetterton next, which again is in many ways the layout's fairly similar. It's got a lot of long straights and fast sections with a twisty infield. Is it another track that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, and we went there once and I enjoyed it at the start of the year. We lacked a little bit of pace, but I think we found our problem, so hopefully going there on a higher this time.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations once again on your 3rd place, and we look forward to seeing you at Snetterton.
Cheers, thanks.
Cheers. Well, we've had some mixed weather conditions here at Rockingham for Class C of the Competition Car Insurance Ford Fiesta Championship. It's produced some great racing, which I hope you've enjoyed, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.